name is Lizzie Parsons. I'm currently enrolled in a children's literature course. We had our final assignment of read aloud. The book that I will be reading out loud to you today is Raven, A Trickster Tale from the Pacific Northwest by Gerald McDermott. This story is an example of Native American folklore. Native Americans used folklore to describe the undescribable. They also told it in an oral tradition, and it was passed down generation to generation. This story is going to describe how the sun came to be. As I am reading this story to you, I would specifically like you to take notice of the raven. I want you to think about how he's illustrated, what makes him different, or what makes him stand out against his backgrounds or other people or objects that were also depicted. So, we're going to go ahead and begin. This is Raven, A Trickster Tale from the Pacific Northwest by Gerald McDermott. Raven came. All the world was in darkness. The sky above was in darkness. The waters below were in darkness. Men and women lived in the dark and cold. Raven was sad for them. He said, "I will search for light." Raven flew across valleys and across mountains. He flew along rivers and over lakes. There was darkness all around. Then he saw a bit of light far away. He flew and came closer to the light. The light was at the edge of the water. The light came from the house of the sky chief, and it was shining. Raven perched high in a pine tree on the shore. Raven watched. Take notice of little Raven in the distance. Does he still look the same? Do you think he still has the same markings as on the first page or even the cover? He saw a beautiful young girl emerge from the shining house and go to the edge of the water. She was the sky chief's daughter. She knelt and drank some water from a woven basket. Look at Raven and his markings and colorings. Also, look at the sky chief's daughter's shawl or blanket that is draped over her. Do these resemble each other? Do they seem the same or not? Raven changed himself into a pine needle. He fell down from the tree and floated on the water. When the girl drank again, she swallowed the pine needle. Notice how the pine needle has wings that are similar to the raven that was depicted on the first page. After a time, the girl gave birth to a child, and the child was small and dark, with shiny black hair and tiny black eyes. Who do you think the child was? Take special notice of the swaddle blanket. Does that coloring and markings seem similar? It was Raven. Raven had been reborn as a boy child. The sky chief was delighted with his daughter's child. He called him grandchild. He played with the boy and carved toys for him. He invited the elders to come and see the curious, wonderful child. Take notice of Raven child. What does the illustrator use, or how does the illustrator make Raven child similar to Raven the bird? Take note of colors or shapes or anything that seems similar. The elders gathered in the shining house when the sky chief and his daughter. They watched Raven child crawl around the floor of the lodge. He pretended to be playing. All the time he was trying to find where the light was hidden. He saw a box in the corner of the lodge. The box was large. It was carved and painted with many colors. The box was bright. It glowed. Ravenchild said, "Gaga!" "What do you want?" asked his mother. Ravenchild said, "Gaga!" He began to cry. "What does the child want?" asked the elders. Ravenchild said, "Gaga!" He cried and cried. "My grandchild wants the box," said the sky chief. The young woman placed the box in front of Ravenchild, but he continued to cry. She took the lid off the box. Inside was a smaller box. She took the lid off that box. Inside was a smaller box. Please take note of Ravenchild's clothing and the coloring used and the symbols used, also of the coloring and the symbols and shapes used on the box. Do they seem similar to you? Why do you think the illustrator did that? His mother took the lid off that box and light poured out of it. Light flooded the room. Inside the box was a shiny ball blazing with light. What do you think the ball was? It was the sun. Give him the ball, said Sky Chief. His mother gave Ravenchild the ball. Ravenchild stopped crying. He began to play with it. He rolled it around on the floor of the lodge. Gaga! Then he changed into a bird. Ha ha! He became Raven once again. Ka-ka! Notice how the illustrator slowly takes away more human features in this description, and then finally in this illustration he looks like a regular bird. What is the similarities in all three pictures, and how are they different from each other? Sky Chief, his daughter, and the elders looked on in amazement. Raven plucked up the ball of light in his beak, flew through the smoke hole of the lodge, and disappeared into the sky. Raven flew over the valleys and the mountains. He flew along the rivers and across the lakes. Raven threw the sun high in the sky, and it stayed there. This is how Raven stole the sun and gave it to all the people. And why do the people always feed Raven? To thank him for bringing them light.